In this video, we will be working on the bill of materials and detail drawings for this tool assembly. We'll start with the bill of materials. Bill of materials can be created directly into the tool assembly by going to the Tools, LogoPress 3 pull-down menu and selecting bill of materials. But in this case, we will use a 2D drawing and place the bill of materials in there. So I'm going to select Open and go to our folder where all of the other plate part files are located, and you can see that there is a drawing for the bill of materials already created. This is because this drawing was already associated with the tool template that we chose to create this tool assembly. So I'll select it, select Open, and that drawing will now open. You can see there are two views already created for it. If we did not want to see the strip assembly in each of these views, we can just simply go to the property manager, expand each view until we see the strip assembly, then right click on it and select hide show, hide component, and we can do that for each view. Each one of these views are actually the entire tool assembly. It's just in this case the upper half is hidden, and in this case the lower half is hidden. Otherwise, if this was just the lower assembly, we would be creating a bill of materials just for the lower assembly. To create the bill of materials, I go to LogoPress 3, Bill of Materials, select it. First thing it asks for is to select the drawing view. The first dialog box that appears is what type of numbering do you want to select? There are 5 options. Global numbering is just consecutive numbering, and then you have global numbering according to the balloon's positioning order. Of course, you got to create your balloons first. And then you could have split numbering depending on what items you want in separate ranges. I am going to select this one, split numbering for standard components. And now you can see there is a range of numbers for everything that's going to be made, and then there's a range of number for your purchase items, the standard components. I'm going to have the first range start at 1 and the second range start at 500, and then select OK. We then get a preview of the bill of materials according to the template we have chosen. Right here is where you would choose the template that you want to use. I'll just select the browse icon, and I am going to select the first, the first option, bill of materials with combined columns. So in this case, the material and part number will be combined into one column, and heat treatment and supplier will be combined into one column. Otherwise, there will be spaces depending on if the item is something that's going to be manufactured or purchased. Select Open. And I will check OK. I can then just place the bill of materials. And if we zoom in, we can see that the table is split into 2 tables. The purchase items are down below here starting at 500, and the manufacturer items are up here starting at 1. At any time, we can select the bill of materials and edit it by selecting Edit Update Tables. I will now create the balloons in these two views. There is no LogoPress function specifically for ballooning. We will use the SolidWorks function that's located in the Annotation tab. And I'll select Auto Balloon. But here's a trick. I'm going to cancel out of this. I am going to set each one of these views, the display style, right here, to wireframe. So I click on each one of these, set it to wireframe, then go to Annotation, select Auto Balloon, select both of these views so that both of them are selected. We can then set how we want the balloons to be laid out. Do we want them to go around? Do we want them to go across the top? However, which way we would like them to be laid out. Then when you have that, you just click OK. Now, one thing to note is that if I zoom in here, you can see that the stripper plate says it's number 19. If I zoom in to number 19 over here, you can see there is no number 19. That is not matching the LogoPress bill materials. That is because if I just select it with a box, drag a box around them, the balloon text is set to item number. That's the SolidWorks item number. LogoPress is using a custom property. So I will change the balloon text to custom property. And the custom property we want to set this to is number nomenc. That's short for number nomenclature, a system of numbering. Click OK. So now, if I look at what the stripper plate is set to, number 13. If I look over here, number 13 is the stripper plate. Now they match. The benefit of using custom properties is that a custom property can be linked anywhere, meaning into your detail drawings and so forth, whereas the SolidWorks item number can't be linked anywhere. If we would like these balloons to be in order, we can do that by simply clicking on the bill materials, select LogoPress 3, and then click Edit and Update Tables. It puts you back into the Property Manager. And I want to change the numbering settings, so I select the numbering settings icon, 1, 2. Then I can come up here, and instead of split numbering for standard components, I could tell it I want global numbering according to balloon's positioning order. And then also I can tell it I want to start at number 1. And then for this option, I'm going to set it to overwrite the current numbers. I don't care what they once were. I want it to be set according to this numbering setting. I want a horizontal sweep, but instead of starting at the upper left-hand corner, I want to start at the lower left-hand corner. Click OK. Check OK again. And everything updates. Now you can see it starts at 1, goes all the way through to 29, and 30 through 47. If I do not want the table to be split anymore, I simply right-click on it and select Merge Tables, Merge All. And now I will save. I will now continue with the detailed drawings. So I'm going to tab back over to the tool assembly. Use my LogoPress filters to show just the lower hide strip. And now we can open up drawings by simply clicking on one of the items and select Open Drawing. You can see that LogoPress has been creating drawings on the fly as we were inserting or creating these plates and inserting them into the tool assembly. This happens if you have a drawing associated with the plate template that you have been using. In this particular instance, the drawing template associated with this plate had two views and already had some of the dimensioning already done for us. At this point, we can simply add a whole table. LogoPress does recommend that you place a SOLIDWORKS sketch point wherever your origin would be. And then when you select LogoPress 3 whole table, you select what type of table do you want. I'll select a full table. I select right here, I can select what type of whole table template do I want to use. Right now I'm using LogoPress 3 whole table letter tags. That's fine. And the origin point is that sketch point that I just placed. Down below here, I could set number of decimal places for X and Y, hole diameters, and depths. I'll just select OK and place the whole table. If I zoom in, take a look, you can see in this particular template that we use, we have our hole tag, our X and Y, top hollow, bottom hollow. This is telling us if the hole is in a pocket or in a milled step. It will tell you how deep it is and from what side. Our designation column and what component is associated with that particular hole. If we take a look at the view, you can see the hole tags that are placed. We can also see in the title block that items are already being filled out. We got our detail number, our quantity, our material, heat treatment if there was one, and our material size. But what about customer, tool description, who it's drawn by? We can have this filled out automatically also. These custom properties can be forced into each part file of the tool assembly from the bill of materials. So I'll just tab over to the bill of materials. I'll just select no for now because we're going to edit it manually. Click on the bill of materials, select edit and update tables, scroll all the way down to the bottom and select the add custom properties option. Expand that. We can either type in a custom property, but every time we type one in, it gets added to a list. And now you can see it's already there. So in this particular case, for customer, we can just type in something. Accurate die design software, ADDS. Tool description. Well, I'll just call it a prog die. If we want to enter in a tool number, we could do that. And who it's drawn by. When I click OK, it just forced those properties to every file in this assembly. If I tab back over to the detail, and then all I have to do is a Control Q rebuild, and everything's updated, and the rest of the title block is filled out. Of course, the custom properties that you may use may be different from what I had just used, depending on the title block of your drawing template. Right now, this particular detail drawing is now completed. I'll just save it, close it, and tab back over to the tool assembly. I will now continue on with the other detailed drawings. Select one of the rails, open that drawing, and let's see, you can see that this particular rail had a drawing associated with it, and a lot of the dimensions are already there. If I zoom in, you can see that it has all of these drawings already there, and that can be set up depending on how you would like those dimensions to be in that drawing for that particular template. I can also zoom in over here at the title block. You can see that that is already all filled out. We just need a hole table for these holes. So the first thing I'm going to do is place a sketch point at the intersection of this edge, and I'm going to pre-select them by holding down, select that edge, hold down and select this edge, and then place a sketch point. That's how you place a sketch point in SolidWorks at the intersection of two lines. Then I'll select hole table. Again, I'll do a full table. Select that sketch point, click OK, and place my hole table. If I look at it, and if I want to, I can drag it down to resize the table. And this detail is complete. Select the next rail, select open drawing, and again, the views in these drawings are whatever you had set up in the drawing associated with the template that you used. Select two lines that I need and place the sketch point. Select hole table, select the origin point, and this drawing is complete. Select the next block. Slide this over a little bit. And with this particular detail, this die block, you can see there is going to be some wire cut openings. But we don't have any wire starts in here yet. So let's create our wire starts before creating this particular. I guess we could place our sketch point and create our whole table. But as I was mentioning before, there's no wire starts. So I want to place the wire starts in. You can either create wire starts in the at the part level by opening up the part file for this die block, or I'm going to tab over to the tool assembly. And this way, I can create wire starts through multiple plates. I'll just show the rest of the tool. And then I go to Standard Component Library and select this icon, Wire EDM Start Hole. First selection, I will select the top of the die block. But I also want to, for other plates cross through, I want to go through the stripper plate and the punch plate. For each one of these, we can set a size for the wire start. I'll select OK, and I'm going to place a sketch point for each one of these. Place one here. I'll place one here. I'm going to change the display style, hidden lines visible. And place a dimension here temporarily, but then I will delete it. So if we make any changes, that point will remain where it is. I'll do the same thing over here. Let's make it even with the midpoint there. Quarter inch, delete it. Exit sketch. I just created wire start holes in all three of those plates for those particular openings. I will also create a wire start for this end cutoff punch. Again, LogoPress 3 Standard Component Library, select Wire EM Start Hole. I'll select the top of this die block. I also need a hole in the stripper plate and in the punch retainer plate. Click OK, puts me into a sketch. I'll place my solver sketch point. Another trick, instead of changing the display style to hidden lines visible, is if I hold down the Shift key, I can get access to the I can select through transparency. That turns that on, toggles it on. Place a dimension. Exit sketch. And one more, I need a wire start for the openings of this form punch. This one does not need a wire start for the die block though, only for the stripper plate and the punch retainer plate. So standard component library, wire EM start hole, select my two plates. First selection was on the top of the stripper plate. Puts me into a sketch again. Place my SolidWorks sketch point. Again, I go hold down the Shift key. So I can select through, place a dimension. And if I wanted to, I could also delete that dimension. So now we have our wire EM start holes in here. I will save the tool assembly. And I'll tab back over to our drawing for our die block. It's going to ask me, it's telling me that something has changed in that die block. Do you want to update the whole table? Yes. And now if I zoom in, you can see that the wire EM start holes have been added to the whole table. And here you can see the wire EM start holes in each one of these openings. I'll just drag this so that the columns are at a nice spacing. And this detail is finished. I'll select the next item, the form die block, and open drawing. In this particular drawing, we had 3 views and an isometric, but there's no dimensions on this particular one. I'll slide this views down a little bit. Place some ordinate dimensions. Place a sketch point for the table, LogoPress hole table. In this particular detail drawing, you can see all the dimensions are already there, including for the holes. That's because that's how we had set up for that particular template. We had a specific template for a parallel. And you can see that the other parallels are also finished. So now I'll continue on with the stripper plates. So I'll just show the middle assembly. Now the stripper plate is completed. If you would like to move an individual tag, because you can see they all move together, well, you just take and hold down your Alt key, and you can drag one of them, one of the grouping. That's SOLIDWORKS functionality. The only two details that are left are the two shoes. Start with the die shoe. For this particular detail, I use a whole table, LogoPress whole table, the compact table. This one I don't have to select an origin point, I can just select the view itself. And you can see that it gives you the whole tag, the quantity, but no locations. If we would like to ordinate dimension this, including the holes, LogoPress does have a tool to do that. It's called Smart Ordinate Dimension. We select our origin point, and there are 4 different options. Around the view, we'll split the view into 4 quadrants and go out to the nearest edge, but I'd like to use this one right here. Oh, and we can also, if I put focus in this box, I could ordinate dimension additional things besides the holes, like the overall size of the shoe itself. Click OK. With this particular option, if the hole is close to the edge, it goes out to the edge. If not, then the dimension stays close to the hole. And if you wanted to, you can always drag these around as needed because they are just ordinate dimensions. Or if you did not like this particular method of ordinate dimensioning, you can always click on the 0, 0, delete it, and then choose a different one. Around the view, select my origin point. Again, I'll put focus on other entities to dimension. If that's the way you would like it. And our detailing is now completed.